Welcome to the Healthy Start Champions training for Havering. I'm Caitlin, a project officer in the public health team here at Havering. You can contact me at any time by emailing me at caitlin.poole@havering.gov.uk if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions surrounding the training or the Healthy Start scheme in general. The first section is about why we are doing this training around Healthy Start. A recent Food Foundation report on the implication of the cost of living crisis on health found these key findings. The COVID-19 pandemic had major impacts on all of us, both directly and indirectly. One of the major indirect impacts it has had is on food insecurity. Before the pandemic, we saw a rising trend in levels of household food insecurity, but COVID-19 has left more people than before struggling to afford or access a healthy diet. Despite community and voluntary sector groups stepping in to help millions, too many food insecure households have struggled to access support, and reliance on overstretched food banks and food aid charities is not a sustainable safety net for families. Households with children have consistently found it harder to put food on the table, particularly lone parents, large families, and low-income families. The evidence has shown that interventions such as free school meal vouchers and the £20 uplift in universal credit have mitigated what would have been an even greater deterioration. Exposure to food insecurity is not equal across all households. In addition to low-income families, BAME communities, adults with disabilities, and those in key worker roles have consistently encountered disproportionately higher levels of food insecurity, and these gaps have widened in comparison to before the pandemic. As we have mentioned, there are large inequalities in food intake across the UK. The impact of poor nutrition in low-income groups is, however, greater at particular stages in the life cycle. Women from more deprived backgrounds are more likely to have poor dietary patterns at conception. The most deprived women eat less protein, fibre, fruit, vegetables, oily fish, and important vitamins and minerals, and eat more processed meat, fried foods, and unhealthy snacks. Proper nutrition during pregnancy is vital for fetal development and reducing the chance of several pregnancy-related risks. Poor maternal nutrition can increase risk of low birth weight, infant mortality, and childhood morbidity. Poor pregnancy outcomes rise with increasing levels of deprivation and increase the chances of neonatal and infant mortality, as well as overweight and obesity in older children and adults. Low educational attainment has also been associated with poor diet in women of a childbearing age. In young and adolescent women, nutritional status is particularly important during preconception and pregnancy. Young mothers have specific diet requirements to support fetal development and to meet their own growing needs. Adolescent diets are typically lower in important micronutrients such as iron, zinc, calcium, and folate. As a result, around half of women have iron deficiency anemia and 30% have low blood vitamin D levels. Incidence of small for gestational age births is higher in young women with low folate intake or poor folate status. Young women aged under 18 are less likely to be taking folic acid supplements at their appointment than older women. Women in more deprived areas are less likely to take supplements. Poor nutrition and adverse outcomes such as stillbirth, preterm birth, and low birth weight have frequently been reported amongst pregnant adolescents. Despite all this, evidence does suggest that young women value healthy eating and aspire to eat well during pregnancy and are receptive to advice and support on eating well. Infancy is a critical period of development, and infant feeding impacts on both short-term and long-term health outcomes. The World Health Organization recommends that infants are exclusively breastfed for the first 6 months before continued breastfeeding alongside complementary foods until the age of 2 and beyond. When introducing solids, a range of foods, colours, and textures should be offered to support infants to learn to chew and swallow, accept a range of tastes, and add important nutrients such as iron to complement those from breast milk or infant formula. A vegetables-first approach can promote vegetable liking in infants, and ensuring a wide range of vegetables are introduced in infancy is encouraged to support better nutrition in childhood. Poor diet quality in infancy increases the chances of overweight and obesity at early school age. Diets of more disadvantaged children are higher in processed foods and sugar, and lower in fruit and vegetables. This has had a major role on the rise of childhood obesity. Obesity prevalence in reception year is greater among children in deprived areas, and the gap between the most and the least deprived has increased. Poorer nutrition in early childhood can negatively impact verbal and cognitive ability and increase the risk of chronic disease later in life. In the UK, risk of a range of poor child health outcomes such as infant mortality, low birth weight, and not being breastfed is higher amongst the more disadvantaged. A Public Health England survey shows that 1 in 4 5-year-olds in England have experienced tooth decay, and oral health is considerably worse in the more deprived children. That completes the first section of this training. You can now exit this video and answer the questions below.